There was a time that you told her things, what you were afraid of, what it was that you actually wanted, the things you didn't say to anyone else. She knew the inside of you. And now, if you're honest, you give her logistics in the weather report. You talk about the schedule, the money, and what time you'll be home. It isn't that you decided to stop telling her things. You never would have agreed to do that. So the question is, how did you get here? And when exactly did the door to sharing close? Now, here's what I want to do in the next few minutes. I'm going to take you back to the exact moment when the sharing stopped. It's not going to be a big fight that you're probably picturing, because that's what most every man gets wrong about this. This is not something that closed in one dramatic moment. It closed somewhere so small and so ordinary that you walked right past it 100 times and never even noticed. Once you see it, once you know where it is, you can start to open this door back up. So stay with me, because I think you're going to recognize this one. Now, let me describe where you are right now, and you can tell me whether or not I'm close. The conversations with your wife are functional. It's who's getting the kids, what's the plan for Saturday, did that payment go through? They're fine. These are very civil conversations. But the thing is that they're completely empty of you. If you can't remember the last time that you told her that you were actually chewing on something uncertain, or something that mattered to you and only you, that's what we want to look at here. Because this is the strange part about it. You don't feel like you're hiding anything. You're not intentionally hiding anything from her. It's not that you sat down one day and decided to go quiet. It's just that somewhere along the way, that quiet, it became the default. And now you have less and less to say, and you're not even sure why. So let me show you where the door actually closes. It's not in fights. It's in a moment that is so small, you'd never think to look there. It's those times when you're sitting next to her and a thought rises up. It's something real, something you could say. And in about a half a second, without even realizing that you're doing it, you run the math. Is it worth it? Will she get it? Do I really want to get into this right now? And so you wind up letting it pass. You swallow it. Nothing dramatic happens here. You probably don't even remember doing it 10 minutes later. It's that subtle. But that one swallowed thought is that door closing just a little bit more. And you do it a dozen times a week. It winds up being something that you do for years. That's the whole story. That's how a man who used to tell her everything ends up with nothing to say. It's not from one betrayal. It's from thousands of tiny moments where it just felt easier or safer or even less tiring to just keep it in. The cruel part is what it does to you over time. Saying the real thing is a muscle. And if you stop using that muscle, it gets weak. It begins to atrophy. So after enough years of swallowing those thoughts, you reach for what you're feeling and you can't even find it anymore. There's just this fog that's kind of descended. You go to answer her and there's really nothing to say. And that's the moment you start telling yourself the lie that keeps this whole thing locked in place. The lie is this. You start thinking that it's just who you are. You tell yourself that you're not really a sharer, that you've never been an open book, that it's just your personality. But I want you to hear me on this, that is not your nature. That is a door that closed so slowly you never even heard it click shut. The man in your cold open, the one who told her everything, that was you too. Maybe that was the more real you. And I'm going to tell you, you didn't lose that man. He just stopped getting used. This is one of the 5 patterns that I watch pull marriages apart quietly and from the inside. This one has a name, and I call it the emotional fog. And the reason why it's so dangerous is the reason why you're still in it. You can't fix a pattern that you can't see. And most men are never able to name it. They just wake up one day on the far side of it, wondering how 2 people who used to be so close ended up living like polite roommates. And while all of that's happening inside of you, something was happening inside her too. She felt you getting further away, and she couldn't point to why, because there was never one thing that she could name either. She just knew that the man who used to let her in doesn't anymore. So she asked what you were thinking, and she got nothing. And she asked again, and after enough of that nothing, she stopped asking. That's the part that should scare you a little. Not the fighting, but the day she stopped asking. So now there are 2 of you, both of you, gone quiet. One privately deciding that the other pulled away first. And I'm telling you that it didn't close in just one moment. It closed one swallowed thought at a time. And if you really hear that, that's actually the best news in this whole episode. Because if it closed one swallowed thought at a time, then that's exactly how it opens. One said thought at a time. Here's the moment I promised you at the start. The door closes at a swallowed thought, which means that the door opens at a said thought. That's the entire intervention. And notice what it's not. You don't need a big, vulnerable conversation. You don't need to sit her down and announce that you're working on yourself. You just need to catch the moment a real thought rises up, the one you would normally let slide right past, and say it. Just one sentence, unpolished, and before you can talk yourself out of it. Now, then comes the part that most men get wrong, so I want you to listen closely. After you say it, let the silence be okay. Don't expect her to respond perfectly. You don't need her to reward you or even notice how hard it was for you to do this. The point was never her reaction. The point is that you open the door 1 inch, the same way that it closed. I'm going to encourage you to do that a few times a week and get that muscle to start to wake back up. That's going to help that emotional fog slowly start to lift. And then you have something to hand her again. So here's your one thing this week. Just one. Catch one single swallowed thought and say it out loud to her instead. One sentence that you would have normally kept in. That's the whole assignment. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, but how far has this actually gone in my marriage? Well, that's actually the right question to ask, because the emotional fog is rarely the only thing in the room. It's usually tangled up with 1 or 2 of the other patterns that I've named, and most men genuinely can't tell which ones are theirs from the inside. So I built something that's actually going to show it to you. It's something called the Disconnection Audit. It's a free quiz online, takes about 5 minutes, and it walks you through exactly which patterns are running in your marriage and where the distance that you're feeling and that she's feeling is actually coming from. The men who take it almost always tell me the same thing. It was the first time that they saw the whole picture laid out in front of them instead of just feeling it. The link is in the description. You can find it at theintimacyupgrade.com. And I'm going to invite you to take it tonight before that next thought gets swallowed. I'm Alyssa. Catch one, say it, and I'll talk to you soon.